Hey there, GamerDad here. This is a two-parter. It's an interview with Watley. If you don't know who he is, he's one of the best Tahm Kench players in the world, well, in Europe, and he's a pretty amazing guy, very popular streamer, and we're going to talk about him, learn a little bit about him and his life, and then there'll be a second video, which is 2 games, and he coaches me and teaches me how to do the frog. If you'd like to see more content like this, please leave a comment and let me know. Let me know if there's anybody you want me to reach out to. I do know a lot of streamers, and I'd like to do more of these. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Can I do that? Thanks. See ya. Well, it doesn't matter. Okay, so listen. Here's what I would like to do, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, okay, what do you want to do?
Actually, there's 2 things I would like to do. There's 3 things, actually. One, I would like to get to know you. I already know you, but... and the stream to know you a little better. 2, I'd like to ask you some questions about the frog. Then I'd like to play a draft game and do Frog 101 because...
Yeah, live coaching sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah, if that's okay. I'll share it on Discord.
Yeah, brilliant.
Because I've only played like about a half a dozen games, but I've watched you play, and like some of the moves you're doing is crazy. I saw you do one where you anticipated the guy's flash and ate him.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm not sure if I can teach you that.
No, I don't expect to learn that. What I find very interesting, this is honestly what I find very interesting, is because a lot of really good solo queue players pretty much OTP somebody, you know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of the high elo, a lot of the highest elo.
Yeah, because you get I get stuck in bronze, but I can still pull off stuff with Urgot that, you know, most people can't. You know what I mean? Just because I played it so much, right?
Yeah, I think there's a difference between general skill, like your fundamentals, your CSing, your map awareness, and your movement, and there's champion-specific skills. So like you might be overall worse than someone in like platinum, let's say, but you're probably better at some of the very specific Urgot things, some of the Urgot specifics on that champion. So yeah, I think there's a big difference between champion skill and like broad League of Legends skill.
Hang on one second. I wanna. Damn it! Oh, you know, I wanted to show you. Yeah, when you know the limits, like I was in the middle of being attacked by 3 people and somebody ran away, and clear across the board, I managed to snipe them while escape. You know what I mean? Like, and I wouldn't have been able to do that, you know, before. So, all right. So is okay? Can I hit you with some questions?
Okay, well, you've got to prepare. You've got a list.
I have a list. It's only 742 questions, so I hope you have time.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, it's like when I went to America, they asked me a list of 742 questions.
Oh,
have you ever been affiliated with any terrorist groups? You know, the classics.
And you said yes, of course, right?
Yeah, I had to list a few. Yeah.
Yeah. There you
Okay. No. Okay, so we can skip that one. So question 1.
So somebody just asked Brit or Australian, but I know you're from the UK, right?
That's so funny, yeah, because when I was last in America, you got a raid.
Oh my God! Emperor, thank you so much. I always mess up her name. She's lovely. She's pregnant. She's gonna have a baby. Gonna be a little support.
Pregnant.
She's gonna have her own support.
Good luck. Give her.
Thank you, Em.
Yeah.
So when you were in America, what?
Very good. So yeah, when I was in America, a lot of people think I'm Australian for some reason.
It's not even close.
Which is horrible. Yeah, I don't know why. I never really understood it, but it's horribly offensive.
Next week,
if there's any group I'd like to, you know, cut association with, it would be them, right? Because the Australians were the British criminals. The Australians, the people left that we sent to live in Australia were all criminals, right? Do you know that?
J-Man apologizes on behalf of America. Well, they just don't pick up on the... That would be like calling somebody from Welsh British, you know what I mean?
Scottish.
You know, so all that stuff.
But the Australians with the criminals, so that's why I don't like...
It was only part of Australia. There was like one prison there. There was a bunch of other people. Never mind that. Those people, have you seen them talk about wolf spiders? With a big wolf spider in the background?
Yeah.
Like it's the size of a cat.
Yeah, I don't.
Anyways.
I don't like the heat.
Well, let's solve that right now. I'm going to hit you with some. Who are you?
Okay, go on.
Why do you play League? And I had a third question there, but we'll go with those 2.
Okay. Who am I?
Yeah.
I'm no arm Watley. That's what they call me. That was a name that was given to me. Actually, I didn't pick that name. That was a name that was given to me by someone else in solo queue. Didn't like me.
Oh, really?
That was yeah. So it was a name that they used to. They kind of were implying I was bad, but I thought it was a funny name, so I kind of took it. And I'm a League of Legends player. I was challenger back in the day as a younger man.
As a younger man.
Yeah, I played a lot of competitive play, a lot of competitive League of Legends. Now I'm just a Tahm Kench player, kind of known as the Tahm Kench guy because that's what people like to see from me. That was kind of what I built my career on.
Right.
And yeah, why do I play League? Well, I play League now because it's my job. I played League all my life, but I play now because it's my career. I left university. I spent 5 years at university. I got 2 degrees, and then I looked at the job market and was like, job market's looking a little rough. How about I just try being a streamer? And so I did that instead. So I did that, and it went pretty well, pretty nicely.
Well, yeah, that's answering like my next question was because like how did you get into streaming? Like how did that go from? Because I know that you went to school. Can I ask you what you studied?
Yeah, I went to school and then I went to university and I did my undergraduate degree in astrophysics and then I did my master's degree in economics.
So something light, something pretty artsy fartsy.
Yeah, it was sort of a side. Like League of Legends was my main passion, but on the side I did the master's degree. Yeah.
So how old were you? How old were you when you started playing League?
I can't tell you. Well, I've been playing since season 2, all right, and that is 13 years ago. Although I don't like to say that, I don't like to word it that way because you start feeling old. But I was young. I was a teenager, sort of thing. I wasn't one of these wonder kids that start playing when they're like 7 or 8 years old. But I was a teenager.
Right. So and then of course, so when did you start streaming then?
I started streaming after I left university because I looked
after university. So you weren't streaming in high school.
Sorry.
Did you stream while you were going to school at all?
No, well, I wish I had. I should have. But I actually never had dreams of being a content creator. Never in my life when I was young was like, oh my God, I want to grow up and be a YouTuber. Oh my God, I want to grow up and I want to be a streamer. You know, it's funny because you see the videos of, if you see these videos of film Chinese kids and you ask them what do you want to be when they get older, they all say, doctor, lawyer,
right,
scientist, and if you do the same thing with like European kids or American kids these days, they all say YouTuber, streamer,
content creator,
sort of, some sort
influencer.
Of content. But I actually never wanted to be an influencer or a content creator. I just played League because it was fun, and I played League competitively in tournaments and stuff, and that was fun. And then I only wanted to be a streamer when the threat of a real job loomed. When the threat of a real 80-hour-a-week job, because those are the jobs I was looking at. That's the main reason. I would have been fine with a normal job. But
when the cows came home, there was time you had to make a choice.
It was like finance jobs. My mother wanted me to go into finance because it pays great. And that was what my master's degree was kind of related to.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? I'm not really feeling the idea of an 80-hour-a-week work week in the finance industry. Why don't I just go try and be a streamer? Because I was already a little bit known. I wasn't well known. I wasn't famous, but I was a little bit known. So I thought, hey, I've got a little starting platform.
You were known in like League circles or?
I was known in like fairly high elo circles. I was known in the UK as well because the UK is a very little scene. It's a very little community, very tight knit. So I was known in the UK a little bit, and I was known in like the high elo community a little bit. Not as anyone too special, but I was a little bit known. So I started streaming, and I'm sure you can understand this. When you start streaming, that like 0 to 5 viewer kind of.
I had 3. It was me, Nightbot, and my laptop on a VPN.
Yeah, that's a rough period. So I mostly skipped that. I'm fortunate. I kind of started with like 20 viewers, 30 viewers or something because I was a little bit known. And I thought, hey, I'll just use this as a springboard and I'll give it a year. I'll give it a year before I get a job and see if I can.
So for you, it was like a gap year. You're like, well, if this works out, great. If not, then I'm going to go be a real.
I'll just go get a normal job. Yeah. Well, I'm
rich
lucky
banker
in that
person.
regard, yeah. Yeah, because and there's nothing, and one day I probably will get a normal job. Unfortunately for you all, maybe one day you will see me in a real job, and I'll be responsible for you. I'll be stacking your shelves or something. I'll be on the checkout, scanning your items. Unfortunately for everyone.
That's high aspirations. Those are high aspirations.
Well, one day I'll probably get a job.
So wait, you said you're going to give
them. And,
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but so you said you're going to give streaming a chance, and you went ham. You just went, I'm going to do this. Like, were you looking for jobs, or were you just like, I'm going to try this for years, my gap year, I'm going to try streaming?
Kind of as a gap year sort of thing. Not officially as a gap year, but kind of just like, hey.
Because a lot of people go to Australia.
Yeah.
But not you.
No, I never. Well, Australian league's really dead. I feel really bad for them out there. It's really.
Oh, is it really?
Not great out there? Yeah, because there's very few people, right? It's actually not a big popular end. Yeah, it's very grim out there. It's very grim.
Okay, so
I feel
let's.
bad for all the Australian pro players because they all the Australian pro players kind of lost their jobs because
Oh, really?
not great. Anyway,
So
yeah,
I want to
know a
back
few
up
of
though.
them.
You said you're playing competitively. So were you playing like high school, university?
I played in the UK. There's a
Just starting.
league called the I can't, what's it called? The Newell. There we go. It's all the universities play against each other, and a lot of the players at university are actually quite high elo. You know,
Right.
they're because at university, you know, it's a lot of relatively driven kids, and also
Some pretty bright ones.
they got a lot of free time. They got a ton of free time. So a lot of people at university are quite high elo, and there's a big tournament with maybe like 300 or 400 teams. And all the university teams kind of battle to see who's the best, right? And that's what I played in. And then I won that. I won that back to back 2 years in a row.
Oh, really?
And that was kind of my entry. Yeah, so that was my entry into
Announcing your presence with
competitively.
authority.
So, yeah, it's not pro play. No, well, actually, no. Funnily enough, I told you this. I told you this when we met at TwitchCon. I told you actually when I went to university, I wasn't good at League. I was a gold player, so not awful, not too bad, but
Actually,
not
yeah, I wanted to talk
anything
about that because
special.
you told me a very interesting story, and I'd like to hear that.
Yeah, we can retell that story, of course. You want to do it now, or have you
Yeah,
got
yeah, let's do
questions
that
to get
now.
to? Yeah, so when I went to university, I was a little fresh-faced, little spotty kid,
Little tiny
classic science STEM student,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't very good at League, or not anything special at least. And I saw all these players in this big tournament. I was like, wow, they're really good. They're really, really incredible players. I really want to be one of them. I want to win the league, kind of like all these other people were trying to do. But I had no hope at that point, so I had to go get good. So what I did, I know this is the part of the story you want me to tell. To get good at League, my approach was I went home and I had a lot of time. Oh, people asked me to mute the music. I forgot I had music on my end. People asked me to, So my approach was I went home and I had a lot of free time. So I was a university student, obviously. And what I did in my free time is I read the League of Legends Wikipedia, which is a very good Wikipedia. It's very regularly updated, very well formatted, and very up to date. And I read the top 5,000 rated pages on the League of Legends
5,000.
Wikipedia. 5,000, yeah. So that's all the champion pages, all the items. Well, I mean, some of them are just kind of meme pages, but the top 5,000 highest rated pages.
Okay, that's a lot, bro.
It is a lot, yeah. But it was kind of in my nature because that's what I was doing at university. I just absorb knowledge.
You want to tear the whole thing apart, right?
Especially when you're at that age.
Right.
When you're in that age, when you're young, you're kind of a sponge as well.
Yeah, you can
Kind of
absorb a lot,
sponge for
right?
knowledge.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I could do it now. I don't know if I could do the same thing now. But yeah, you can just suck it all up. You can slurp up all the knowledge and kind of internalize and synthesize it much better.
And what effect did that have on your play?
Well, it had a big effect because firstly, the most important thing of League of Legends to get good at League of Legends is to understand what all the characters do. Understand what all the characters do and what all their abilities do. And, then you can kind of understand how you can figure out how your character that you play interfaces with the other character. And then what you can do, the second tier of that is like, okay, so I understand what all the characters do. Now I need to understand what all their cooldowns are. What are all their cooldowns? And what are all their base damages? And what are all their scalings? How much do their abilities scale with AD and AP? And what damage type do their abilities do? They do magic damage or physical damage or true damage? And then you need to understand all of them. And then you need to understand all their builds. What are the first items they build? What are the second items they build? What are all the items they build do? And
That's
so
a
that
lot,
was my
bro.
approach.
That's a crazy
It is
amount
a
to
lot.
absorb.
It is a lot, but like you have to kind of do it at some point. And you can do it at different ways. You can either do it like I did it and just sit down and read and try and absorb it all,
Like the
or you can
Matrix.
do it by practice. Most people do it by practice. They just keep playing games and they kind of steadily brute force it.
Right, learning by mishap.
Yeah, you learn by experience. But I did both. Well, I played a lot of League as well, but I learned by experience. But I also learned by studying,
Well, it's interesting
because I was
because
good at studying.
after you told me that story, now I can't absorb stuff like that anymore. But
No.
what I did realize was I was doing my builds and buying my items, but usually chat would know more about my items than I did. So
Yeah.
I brought up all the wiki pages on the items I usually buy, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that item did that as a passive or whatever. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it had an impact. I mean, mind you, I just went through a bad losing streak and went from B1 to B4 in 2 weeks, but whatever. And that improved, but that's a huge amount to absorb. So you were gold, then what happened?
Well, I started doing all this. I started grinding, just learning everything. And I also combined that with obviously experience, like playing the game. And in about 9 months, I went from gold 4, well, actually, it would have been gold 5 back then, to diamond 3. I don't know if you played back then. There used to be 5 divisions in each tier, so it was gold 5 and diamond 5. Not
no,
diamond
I
4.
would have been yelling at people in a Call of Duty lobby. So yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, a little bit different, but yeah. So I did that, and I just focused on that, and I focused on that. And when I wasn't doing my university work, I just spent every minute thinking about and learning about and studying League and trying to get better. And you know, if you put a lot of effort in, it works. You put a lot of effort into anything like that, I think you usually see some results.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, well, I'm always stunned at how well people know things. I mean, when I was a kid, I learned everything about Dungeons and Dragons, so I had the rule. I had the rule book memorized. You know what I mean? So
yeah, no, of course.
Yeah, so now it's a bit of an effort. Now I'm learning all I can about bikes because I ride. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I think you should always be trying to learn stuff every day when you can. You know,
it makes a huge difference. So
knowledge is power. Yeah,
it's an interesting secret is because one of the reasons I play League, although I get very frustrated at it and I'm hard stuck, is it's constant problem solving, and that's good for my brain.
Yeah, completely.
You know what I'm saying? So better than watching.
I think
whatever.
problem solving is everything in life. Problem solving and pattern recognition is everything in life. Yeah.
So how long have you been streaming then?
I think since halfway through 2020. So actually, like 5 years now, which sounds 5 years.
That's wow, you're doing fantastic.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. Yeah.
And how was that growth? Like, how did you see that growth happen? And when did you think, okay, I'm in a good place?
Not until recently, financially. So I don't think normal viewers know this. I don't think people who don't stream know this. But League of Legends is a great place to become a streamer, right? It's a great place to grow your viewership. It's a great place to make a name for yourself. It's not a great place to make money. Now, you'll differ slightly on this one because you're from America, not from Europe.
Canada.
And because of that.
Canada.
Okay, sorry.
From the
I don't
colonies.
mean to say you're American. Well, because I don't mean to say you're from America, because actually it's not that.
But I'm in North America. I'm in North America.
Your audience is from America. Your audience is from America, is what I actually mean to say. Primarily. Well, I'm sure some of it is from Canada. I'd wager, if I looked at your analytics, that the majority of your viewership would be from the United States.
About 30% is from Europe, and that's all because of you guys rating me. So.
Yeah, sure. I can believe that completely.
But anyways, okay.
But Europe pays worse.
Back to what you're saying.
Europe pays worse than North America. That's what I'm getting at here. So League of Legends in Europe is actually not a good way to make money because a lot of Europe is quite poor, whereas America and Canada, very generally pretty well off countries. So League of Legends is not a great place to make money streaming. I don't even think until recently I was making much more than minimum wage in the UK.
See, that's kind of important information because all these kids that say, I want to be a content creator, I don't think they really understand what's involved and what the economics are.
Yeah, so I mean, for reference, I've been a 500 viewer streamer for a long time. And I think people think at that level you're starting to make the big bucks. Whereas in League of Legends, at least specifically, that's kind of getting towards minimum wage, I think, unless you're taking kind of gambling sponsorships or something. I think that's kind of when you start making minimum wage, funnily enough, in League of Legends. Now, the best paid streaming career I know of is actually VR stuff. And I think the reason is that the VR people who do VR stuff, people who watch VR content are more likely to own a VR headset, right?
Right.
That kind of makes sense. And if people are more likely to own a VR headset, they're more likely to have more disposable income because that's a luxury product. That's a very luxury piece of tech to have, is a VR headset.
You know who I found very you know who was very generous when I was streaming?
Who?
DayZ viewers.
Yeah, potentially true. I think
because they're older. They're older.
Market.
You know,
Yeah.
So this leads me, but now you're doing better now. You're making like a buck more than minimum wage. Yeah.
I'm actually not making like crazily more than minimum wage, but I'm making a good chunk above, enough to pay the bills, and I'm pretty financially fortunate in my life right now as well. Like from other stuff, unrelated to streaming, I'm pretty fortunate. I would not take what I was born with for granted. I was born into a relatively well-off family, which I appreciate. Nothing crazy, but
so. Can I ask you another question? This is about streaming, because again, I don't think this is something people understand. How many days a week do you stream?
I don't have a set schedule, but I stream pretty much every day. If you were to average it out, I'd probably say 6 days a week. Okay. If you were to average it out. Now,
and how long are your streams?
Sorry, how long? Yeah. Not that long, honestly. Probably, again, if I'm doing well, you'll be aware I've had some health conditions and stuff.
I was going to talk about those in a bit, so yeah.
Yeah, we can, but I'll just preface by saying, that's made it harder, obviously. But if I'm doing healthily, I'd like to stream 6 days a week, 4 hours a day minimum.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
4 hours
I'd like to bump
good.
it up to 5 hours. I'd like to bump it up to 5 hours, really.
Right.
Actually, and that would be a 30-hour work week at least, and that's the time you spend specifically streaming.
Well, that's the other part I want to talk about, is because, and most people don't understand this, is so how much more time is involved in doing YouTube, social media, prepping, like all the business of streaming.
Well, yeah, that's correct. There's extracurricular, effectively.
Right.
And yes, it's quite a bit more time. Now I'm lucky. Now I'm lucky because I have editors who edit my videos for me, and I pay them, obviously. And I have a agent who talks to sponsors for me. So nowadays, actually the workload lifts a bit, which is nice. Now, to be fair, I could make more money by doing all of the editing and all of the negotiating myself.
Because it's very time consuming, right?
Yeah, but it is very. But then, yeah, I'd probably output worse content, so it's a trade-off, right? But yeah, no, there is a lot of time stuff. There's always something to do. There's always people to pay, people to talk to, people to plan stuff with. There's a lot of extracurricular stuff. There's traveling. Sometimes you travel for stuff. I traveled up north in the UK recently for what's effectively work, and I traveled to TwitchCon as you did. Yeah. Although it was easier for me than you because you're coming all the way from North America. Yeah, but there is a lot of extracurricular stuff. I think I'm pretty lucky now because I like to outsource when I can and then focus on what I'm good at. Because I'm not a good editor, I'm not a great negotiator. I will leave that to the guys who have mastered those crafts, and I will stick to the crafts that I have mastered, which are largely sitting around and being an idiot live on air. Right?
That's what I'm being cynical and killing people with frog.
Yeah, being cynical and making stupid jokes and
then we can talk about it very briefly, but you did go through a rough patch because you had a personal injury, and that really sort of set you back, and you managed to recover. And you were saying, because if you stop streaming, it's like a treadmill. If you get off, it can have a massive impact, because I've killed my stream many times, right? So how was that process, and how are you feeling now?
So yeah, to preface this, just for anyone who don't know, although most people who know about me know about this, I had a bad accident. I fell out of a 3rd-story window. I was in a coma for a bit, and the doctors said to kind of my family, they were like, hey, we're not sure if he's going to wake up from the coma, and if he does wake up from the coma, you should probably be ready for him to be very disabled, like quite disabled.
Which is terrifying.
Which is pretty freaky, yeah. And somehow I woke up, and miraculously, I was messed up in all kinds of ways. I had brain bleeding, brain damage. I had broken legs. I had fractured pelvis, fractured spine, all sorts of things. But miraculously, I was very okay mentally, and I was very kind of after a couple of weeks in the hospital, I'd kind of like locked back into reality, and I was completely okay. And that's miraculously as well, most of the physical problems I just healed very quickly. I've always had I've been pretty robust my whole life. I managed to heal up most of the physical stuff pretty quickly. And yeah, I was kind of okay. So I had that. And yeah, no, you mentioned with regards to content creation, it's not with streaming. It's not like I can call up my boss and be like, oh, I'm going to need some time off work.
Right, yeah.
Give me some sick pay. I can't call up who owns Twitch? Amazon, right? I can't call up Amazon, Mr. Jeff Bezos, and be like, oh, sorry, Jeff, I've had an accident. Can you give me some sick pay for a few weeks?
Right, I need a leave of absence.
Yeah, that's not something I could do. So yeah, I was very terrified. One of the things I was terrified was in hospital was not just, oh my god, am I going to die? Am I going to be okay? But what's going to happen to my streaming career?
Which is
what's
going to happen to
my influencer career? So when I got out of hospital and when I was okay to function, the first thing I did was farm this stupid injury for content. So I got out, I got on my PC, I sat up, and I did this stupid tier list of injuries that got so popular, and I tier listed all the injuries from life-threatening to annoying. Okay. At the top, life-threatening injuries, and the bottom, kind of more annoying injuries.
That's a weird way to look at things, but okay, that's a good.
Well, it's a stupid way of looking at things. No. Look at it like that. I should be concerned about getting better and not dying, sort of thing. Not tier listing.
Yeah, but it gave you something to do too, though, right?
It gave me something to do, and it gave me something to people to take notice of, to be like, this happened to this guy. Oh my god, that's big news. This guy almost died. And secondly, it gave people something to laugh at. It gave them something to find funny. because it's sort of video game tier listing isn't specifically video game adjacent, but it's something that's often done in as a part of what like gaming culture, influencer culture. People love tier lists. They're addicted to tier lists.
Yeah.
GamerDad, if you sat up one day and said, hey, guys, what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna tier list all the different toothpaste brands I've tried. I would listen. I would sign up for that, and I would watch and listen.
I'm gonna tier list all the champs I hate fighting as Urgot.
But yeah, people would watch. People love tier lists. There's something coded into the human brain that loves ranking things, stratifying things by your like how much you like them. People love ranking things, and they love either agreeing with you and having their opinions validated, or they love disagreeing with you and arguing with you and saying, "Hey, no, idiot, you're wrong. You put this in D tier when it should be in B tier. You're wrong." People love that.
But then you came back to streaming.
Yeah, and then so I did that, and I took a little bit while to recover because I was blind at the time. I was legally blind at the time, and then I took a couple of weeks and I streamed, and I turned everything I can to content. I said, well, what's the first thing I'm going to do when I come back streaming, given I'm brain damaged, now I'm blind, I can't see properly out of my eyes, and all of my body hurts all the time, and I'm on constant medication to stop being in pain. What's the first thing I'm going to do? Well, I'm going to queue up for solo queue and play
Of course,
and
yeah,
prove
absolutely.
the champ is really easy.
Yeah.
And again, that's a stupid little League of Legends tie-in. And the juxtaposition between life-threatening injury and decision to play Yumi is amusing. People find that amusing.
And it worked out.
And it worked.
Did it help with your recovery?
Well.
Did it help you focus on that and help with your recovery?
It was a
challenge,
a lot of recovering from injuries is optimism. It's mindset. Not everything. You can't fall into a volcano and come out okay because you have a positive attitude, a go-getter attitude.
Bears don't care about your attitude.
It gave me a positive mindset. So I think that did help me, be more.
And now you're doing great.
And now I'm doing great. Yeah, both career-wise and physically, and both like health-wise, I'm doing pretty well.
That's a hell of a journey. I'm glad you're okay. Like honestly, when I found out, I was really worried about you, and I'm glad. I know that it was massive amounts of challenge. So so GG, buddy. So I got a couple of questions about Tahm Kench, and then you can watch me die in solo queue.
Yeah, no, let's do it.
Why do you like him? Why do you? And the first question: is he a frog or a catfish?
I think the actual answer is he's both. Now I always say he's a frog, and I actually have a command set up to ban people who say it's a catfish, right? Okay. Just for humor. I think he's both. Really,
you have a frog spinning on you. You have a frog spinning on your stream.
Yeah, I've had that guy since I started streaming. He's been there the entire time. And what I've actually done, so you can see on Twitch if you go to your analytics how long you've been streaming, like how many hours you've streamed, right?
Okay.
So over your entire career. And I did that a while ago, and I haven't done it in a bit, but I did it a while ago, and I added up all the hours I've been streaming, which is obviously thousands of hours. Mm-hmm. And then what I did is I measured how long it takes that frog to do one revolution. Okay. And then I divided, because he's been there since my first stream, I divided the amount of time in the stream by the revolution time to figure out how many times he's spun.
How many?
And it's something it was something ridiculous, like 5.6 million. I can't even remember how many times. It's something.
There's
insane.
a reason you're good at League, looking at things like that. That's crazy. Somebody wants to know if you think Tahm is cute.
I think he's a cute little guy. Yeah, he's a chubby little fella.
So why do you like him? Why do you like playing him? There's so many champs.
Okay, so
why aren't you playing Fiora?
Because, for a few reasons. Well, firstly, obviously I played League before him, so I did play other champions, and I've never been a good mechanical player. Never. Even at my peak. At my peak, I was a better mechanical player than I am now, but I was never good. And I could never compete with the best players on a mechanical level, on a mechanical dimension. So I was like, well, I'm going to have to figure something else out. So first thing I did, I realized this. I realized my strengths and weaknesses, and I was like, my strengths are not my hands. My strength has to be something else. So I stuck to non-mechanical champions, okay?
Right.
So that's the first thing I did. So even before Tahm Kench came out, and before I played him, I played other relatively simple characters. And where do you want to do that? Well, you probably want to do that in top lane for one. Safer. And I played on locked screen as well. So I was like, I want to do that in top lane as well, because top lane is the best lane for locked camera, because of the way the
you still play with you don't play with lock camera now.
You
don't play with lock camera now.
I do.
What?
I do. Yeah, to this day, yeah, I'm probably one of the highest elo players in the world with lock camera. Yeah, I do. And almost, not the highest. There are a couple of people above me.
No, but the fact that you're playing locked, that's amazing.
Well, it's just because I'm very stubborn.
Yeah.
I'm just very, very stubborn. I refuse to change. Everyone told me, when I was trying to get good at League, I'd talk to people about League, I'd talk to people about getting good at League, and I said, the first thing they will say to me is, well, you've got to play with unlocked camera. That's the first thing, that's the easiest way to get better. That's such a big difference.
Right.
And you know me, stubborn and obnoxious, I said,
Except
well, that's
for
one
me.
thing I'm not doing.
Right.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm not doing that now, aren't I?
No, I'm especially not doing it because you told me to do it.
So good. Yeah. Yeah, I do occasionally unlock my camera, to teleport, for instance. I'm going to teleport to the other side of the map. I'll look her. But yeah, 95% of the game, I'm just locked in on my... And I think it's an ego thing as well. I think it leads you to
You don't have an ego.
in a selfish way. Well, no, if the camera is always locked on you...
Egos?
I think if you move your camera around lots and you look at your team and you think about your team and what they're doing, that leads you to a more team-based playstyle because you're looking at them, thinking of them. Okay. I'm always looking at myself. Like the story of Narcissus.
Right.
Do you know where the term narcissism comes from?
Yeah.
You know the story of Narcissus in the water, like the ancient Greece.
Didn't he drown?
Yeah. It was something along the lines.
You can tell me the story. Tell chat the story.
Oh, the story is in ancient Greece there was a man called Narcissus. Sounds similar to narcissism.
Right.
And he was a very beautiful man, very handsome man. And this forest nymph, I can't remember the exact story. I think a forest nymph kind of fell in love with him. But he'd never look her way. He'd never pay any attention for her. And she cursed him to look in the water. He looked in the water and he saw his own reflection. He fell in love with himself and he couldn't stop looking in the water. Couldn't stop staring at his reflection in the water because he was so beautiful. He was so obsessed with himself. And then that's where he died. He fell in the water and drowned eventually, or starved to death at the pond. I can't remember what it was exactly.
I like the story of Sandra. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, and then that's
chat,
where
sorry, 1 second.
Yeah,
Watley, sorry to interrupt. Yeah, chat, we're just talking to Watley about Watley, and then we're talking about the frog, and then we're going to play some games. Sorry to interrupt, sir.
Oh, yeah, that's where the word narcissism comes from, kind of self-obsession.
So you're stubborn, and but that obviously keeps you focused on your game, though, right?
Yeah, well, is it good to be selfish? Probably not, but does being selfish have some upsides? Probably yes, as well.
So how did you end up playing the frog, and why did you like the frog?
So I was getting to that. Well, firstly, number one thing is, like I kind of covered, he's a mechanically simple champion, so that's what I always like. Secondly, I just always liked frogs as a kid, as I was growing up. They're very stubborn animals. They're not actually very good animals. I hate to say it.
Okay.
Kind of not on brand for me, but frogs are not very good animals. They're not very tough. They're not very smart. They're not very adaptable. They're not very versatile creatures. But they are very stubborn. They're stubborn and they keep at it and they do what they want until either it works or they die. Okay. And that's what I'll do. Like that's what I'm like. And I always liked frogs growing up. So yeah, it was my favorite animal. So I thought I'd play him. And very funny, silly character. I also play kind of silly characters.
Right.
And back in the day, he was not meant to be a top lane. He was meant to be kind of a support and stuff. So I was like, oh, well, I'll be stubborn. I'll play him somewhere else.
Play him top.
I won't play by the rules, sort of thing. Yeah.
And then, you found your groove with him, and then I've only played him a little bit, and I'm finding that I have to think a lot more.
Well, it's just different. It's just different to what you're accustomed to, isn't it? I don't think he's too hard. I don't think he's too easy, but I don't think he's too hard either. But I will teach you how to not think. I will teach you how to think as little as possible. Don't worry about it.
Okay, well, I mean, I play Urgot and Yorick and those guys are not hugely mechanical. Like, I have to plan out my moves, and then when I make a move, I make a move. You know what I mean? But I'm not hopping around all the time, right?
No. Yeah, go on.
Oh, I was going to say, so what do you think his biggest strengths are, and what's his weaknesses?
Well, okay, he's a nice simple champion. Now a lot of people say he's very good early game, and I wouldn't really agree. I actually think early game, as in early game, like levels 1 to 6, is actually quite a bad character. And what I'll teach you when we do this is I'm mostly going to teach you when you're in the early lane, the 1 to 6, to just not do anything too crazy. And that might feel different to you playing Urgot, because Urgot, I mean, I'm sure you played your fair share of Urgot.
A couple games, yeah.
You can be very tough in the early game. So levels 1 to 3, you can often look to fight people.
Yeah, I'm pushing.
Now, that's something I have to unteach you for Tahm Kench, because I think until like level 7, I always say level 7 is his best level. Level 7 onwards, for the rest of the game, you can really just run at people and beat them up. And that's where he's very strong. And he's very strong because he does a lot of damage, he has a lot of CC, and he's very tanky.
I like tanky. Tanky's good.
He's very tanky. He's tankier than Yorick. He's tankier than Urgot. He's very fat and very hard to kill.
And who do you ban? Like, what's the worst matchups for him?
I mean, you should ban Yorick.
Okay.
Actually,
Really? Okay.
because Yorick is a very nasty matchup, and I don't ban Yorick, but that's because Yorick in high elo is a lot less common than Yorick in low elo.
Right.
I
Okay.
think
Because he can
Yorick
shred
in
you
lower
with the,
elo
he can shred you with the
is
ghouls,
a
or
lot more played.
get you with the
Well, it's
W.
because, so one thing I can easily teach you on Tahm Kench is all of your output is a function of whether you land your Q. Your Q is your only real ability, because if you can't land your Q, then you can't land your W. If you can't land your Q, you can't land your ult, because you've got to stack them. If you can't land your Q, you can't stick to them to auto attack. So your Q, landing your Q is a function of everything else you'll do. And against Yorick, well, what's the problem with landing Q against Yorick? Well, he's got 4 little babies.
Oh yeah.
Chasing him, running around with him, and they can block your Q. And there's nothing you can really do to prevent that, unfortunately.
So it's kind of like
So-
Alawi's E. If he misses his E, he's useless.
Yeah, it's actually very similar to Alawi. Yeah, not quite as bad, because I
but
think
in that-
Alawi's more
in that
punishable.
hood.
But one thing you'll like about Tahm Kench, so I think Tahm Kench is a bit better in lower elo than higher elo, because he's got very, very big strengths, but they're all conditional strengths, and they're mostly conditional on the enemy making mistakes. Okay, and he's very forgiving as well. If you make a mistake on Tahm Kench, you're unlikely to get really punished super hard, unless you're against a really, really good player or a really, really strong champion. Tahm Kench is very forgiving, and I like that, because I make stupid mistakes all the time.
I like that.
Even
I like
though
that.
I'm highly, he's very forgiving, so if you make a mistake, as long as it's not a horrifically mega mistake, you're probably okay. And he's very strong conditionally. And what I mean by that is to say, if you can, he's got very, very, very high damage as long as you can land your Qs, and he's very, very, very tanky also as long as you can land your Qs, because he heals him, and as long as you can use your shield well. Okay. And he's got very, very high CC again, as long as you can land your Qs. So if you land your Qs, that's everything in the world. That's everything in the world, and you're a super strong character.
Okay. Somebody asked about playing against Hermdinger. I think that would be a nightmare.
Yeah, that's actually, no, funny enough, that's actually the worst matchup in the game, but it's such a rare one. Like, no one plays that character ever.
Okay, well,
but that is actually
is it better? I think it's better for me to go on a call with Discord so you can see it in real time, because otherwise there's a lag, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I got a couple of quick questions to ask you, because to be honest with this part, I'm going to put on podcast. I'm starting a podcast, and you're going to be my first guest. So.
Yippee! Wow.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite number?
That's my favorite number. Do you want to laugh?
Okay,
it's 196,883.
You know that number, 196,830. Why? That's okay. What?
I will PayPal you $1,000 if you know why.
186. Is it the speed of light?
No, that's three times 10 to the 8. 196,000. It's kind of a running joke, because I sound so arrogant when I. Well,
186,000 roughly, or 300K is speed of light, right? So I'm gonna find out why 186,900 and what?
196,188.
196,180. Chat's gonna try and figure it out. Who do you watch when you watch League?
Who do I watch?
Yeah, do you watch anybody else on League? Who do you like watching?
I don't watch streams too. I mostly flick, and I'll watch streams for a short period, like 15 minutes each. I often don't binge watch streamers, but in terms of streamers, I think Baus is very good. I like watching Baus, like everyone else. Yeah. I mostly watch top laners. Who else do I enjoy watching?
Channel surf?
Sorry?
You channel surf?
Yeah, I like watching a little bit of everyone. I like watching a little bit of a lot of people. I mostly watch top laners. Honestly, every top laner I watch occasionally, and I think it's good because you can learn a little bit from everyone. Every single, no top laner is perfect, but every single person has big strengths in some way. They're very good players in some way.
There's a reason they're there, right?
Yeah, and you can learn a little bit from everyone. So all the big top lane streamers I watch a little bit at least. Are there any like notable ones? No one screams at me like, "Oh my god, this is someone I already watch."
Yeah, except for GamerDad.
Except for GamerDad, yeah, I learn the most there.
You just download everything. I know. So
I just download complete. Yeah.
What's your favorite breakfast?
Breakfast. Well, I can't taste anymore, can I? We didn't mention that earlier. I don't have taste.
Oh yeah, that's right. I hope that comes back. What was your favorite breakfast?
My favorite breakfast, I'd probably just say a full English breakfast. You know, bacon and eggs, and hash browns and beans. I like beans.
Beans are good.
Big fan of baked beans. Well, everyone makes fun of British people for eating beans. I love beans.
So it kept the empire alive. 2 places you'd like to travel to, and then I got one more question.
2 places I'd like to travel to. My favorite countries to visit are Iceland and Switzerland. I like Iceland. because I used to go there.
I want to go there.
I used to go there. It's the prettiest country in my opinion. It's really nice. It's got no flaws other than the fact it's very remote. Right. Iceland's lovely, and the water's so clean you can just lean down in the river and drink straight from the rivers that are flowing down the mountain.
It's on my list. That's on my bucket list.
And I like Switzerland because I interned at CERN there. Do you know CERN?
Yeah.
I briefly. For
what do you mean you interned at CERN?
I briefly, like I say, interned. Like I wasn't actually doing anything valuable, but I was hanging around. I was talking to people, sort of thing. I wasn't quite at the pay. It was before I went to university, so I wasn't quite at the level where I could actually give any great input.
Still, you were at CERN though. That's pretty amazing.
I spent a summer at CERN and just kind of walked around in Switzerland, and I love Switzerland. It's very, very nice. It's just it's very expensive. It's the most expensive countries I've ever visited.
And your average height. And my last question is this: who's your favorite villain?
Villain from like media.
Yeah, it can be a movie villain.
I don't consume much media, but who would my favorite villain be? I mean, everyone loves Marvel, like superhero movies. They're the current vogue.
Right.
I don't love superhero movies, but I do like Watchmen. Have you seen or read Watchmen, the comic?
The Watchmen?
Or the movie? The Watchmen, yeah.
I love the Watchmen, yeah.
Now, it's actually tricky to identify a villain in that context because the whole purpose of the movie is structured that like no one's really evil, no one's just ontologically evil for no reason, right? They all have their motivations. But I'd probably pick someone from there. I'd probably pick, Rorschach would be a classic answer. You could argue Ozymandias to be a villain, or even Dr. Manhattan to be a villain. So if I was to identify a villain, probably a character from that, probably one that I'm going to destroy the world because I'm really evil.
Excellent.
I don't find that tremendously interesting.
That whole series is a lot like Warhammer. No, neither do I. I like the ones that think they're doing the right thing, right? So
yeah, and that's
why I like Thanos' movie.
Yeah. Well, I actually haven't consumed all of the Avengers. I've seen some of them, but yeah, from what I understand, yeah, he's trying to do something good at least.
Well, what he thinks is good. That's the best thing about bad guys. Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. Thank you. That I enjoyed that conversation very much, sir.
Lovely. No, me too. That was great.
Okay.
Did anyone figure out the number? Hey
there, if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. If you could do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe thingamabob and bing, 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 bing. And again, if you want more content like this, please leave me a message and comment. I hope you have a great day. See ya.